day here of the HSBC BWF Indonesia Open 2023. And it's men's singles now. Kento Momota of Japan playing Angus of Hong Kong, China. So looking at the bracket there, we've already seen Xu Yuqi defeat Yong in a match that went back and forth. And that's the other half of the draw. The winner of the match we're about to see here plays either Pranoy or Nishimoto in the next round. Should get a pretty good reception for Kento Momota. There you go.
Versus Angus, Hong Kong, China.
So Kento Momota strolls in. Angus not far behind him. We talked about Kento Momota earlier, we touched upon it earlier. Now it's not been the best of times, not been the easiest of times for him since his accident all the way back in January of 2020, Chris, and how he always had to kind of bounce back from all that adversity.
Yeah, it's been a tough time for him, and I mean, the other difficult thing is the amount of matches he's played as of late. It really isn't many, and he's only got 9 tournaments on his world ranking, but he's defending big points from Malaysian Open. So he does have a bit of pressure on this tournament, because if he doesn't put in a good performance here, and if he was to go out first round, I think he'd drop out the top 32 in the world, which means he'd possibly have to look at playing some lower graded tournaments just to get his ranking back up again before he can get back in. So if he wants to qualify for Olympics, it is a really big ask. It really is. You
know, we just saw the head-to-head there, 7-0. He's never lost to Angus Unkalong. The last time they played was in 2022. He won that in 55 minutes at the Malaysia Open round of 16. Before that, the last time they played was in 2019, the All England semi-final. So just the one time since his accident, since things have sort of gone a little sideways for him. If you look at his profile there, 175 centimeters tall. Kento Momota, a man who's at the top of his game, who's world #1. September 2018 when he achieved that. He's a former world champion twice, 2019, 2018 as well. Asian champion in those 2 years. And if you recall as well, 15 titles to his name, a whopping 15. Only one, though, since that accident. And that was in the Indonesia Masters in 2021. As for his opponent, Angus Unkalong. He's 28 years of age now. And has been as high as 6th in the world, achieved in November of 2017. His last title not so long ago against Li Shifeng in the German Open. Before that, he's won the Thailand Masters in 2020. He has won the Indonesia Open here before, Kento Momota. Back in 2018 when he beat Victor Axelsen in the final. He also won it in 2015.
Ready to play.
Unkalong's best performance here was 2019 when he got to the quarterfinals. He's had a number of first-round exits, Kento Momota, in the last few years. Indonesian Masters this year, the Indian Open, last year's Japan Open. With a string of first-round exits. All England, he lost to Kunlavut in the first round. And at the recent Malaysia Masters, he lost to Wang Hongyang. So, recent record, Chris, is by his high standards, ordinary.
Yeah, it is.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's so tough when you come back from something that he came back from, because that was a devastating car crash that happened. The driver very sadly passed away.
Yes.
It was a really serious car accident, and Momota had eye surgery. And that's another serious thing, and it takes time to get back. If you have a surgery of any kind, it can take a lot longer than people anticipate, because it's everything. It's getting your confidence back, your belief. It's getting your match kind of tournament practice back. The amount of tournaments Momota's played over the last 12 months really isn't many. He's only got 9, as I said, on his world ranking. You look at Angus compared to him, Angus got 18. There's a big difference, and it's going to be interesting. No one really knows, in all honesty, the level that Momota's at right now, because we haven't seen him play. So it's going to be a really interesting game to see how it all pans out.
Playing this year. He's only won 3 out of 8 matches this year.
Service over.
Carlo was 19 out of 28, so contrast in their form this year. I just want to ask Chris, from a player's perspective, I'm always fascinated by this. How much does a head-to-head play into your mind going into a fresh match against that opponent?
I would say if the head-to-heads are like fairly recent, then I would say 100%. And if you've played that player, that pair, in a similar venue, it's very relevant, because styles, like as an example, if we just go very simple into the doubles, there are styles where, let's say player A, their natural game, and player B's natural game just don't match up. So let's say player A, their natural game is what player B hates.
Right.
So then player B has to go into their B game. We'll say their B game can't handle it either, and they have to go into their C game. There's things like this that you take into account. So generally head-to-heads, especially if they're very one-sided. And the other interesting thing is if the world rankings are significantly different. So let's say you've got a pair that are ranked 8 in the world and a pair that are ranked 18, but the pair that are ranked 18 have a 3-0 head-to-head. Well, there's an obvious there's normally a significant reason why.
Right.
The styles just don't match up. I'd say this one we obviously need to take with quite a large pinch of salt, because Momota obviously has a phenomenal head-to-head of 7-0.
Yes.
But the key is,
most of them are a long time ago.
This is the thing, and going back to the big point, which is, I don't think even Momota probably knows what level he's at, just because he hasn't played many tournaments. His recent run of, he played the All England first round, Malaysia Masters first round, so he hasn't played enough matches to get into a groove, to get into a rhythm, and really see what level he's playing at. And Angus is a tricky character because he's such a hard-working. It's not easy to win the point against him. Angus is incredibly disciplined. He won't take any kind of crazy risks. He's very calculated. So it's not a nice game for Momota as well. And the other thing Momota's going to have is he's going to have doubt. He's going to have doubt in his mind of, can he get back to what he was? And he's chasing the other 2 Japanese players that are a fair bit ahead of him in the world rankings, and that's the wrong shot there from Momota. He's opened himself up, flat cross court. Unkalong read it incredibly well. You see here, he's already starting to move to cover his forehand. Unkalong, It is going to be a really big ask, this Olympic qualifying, for Momota to be able to overtake one of his Japanese teammates, or to get himself considerably up the world rankings.
Good start here, though, for Unkalong.
But the big thing is, in reality, I don't feel Unkalong's having to do anything incredible.
Too special here.
Yeah, he's moving the shuttle around. He's being incredibly hard working as he does. Shot selection, very disciplined.
7-2.
But I just don't feel at the moment Momota's showing anything that's going to hurt Unkalong. That's what I'm feeling at the moment. The game could change. Momota could grow with confidence. But yeah, the way the game started. Unkalong, he's got to remember that drift. Because he's played 2 shots now. I mean, he's only... Momota's on 3 points, but 2 of them, Unkalong's hit 2 shots with the drift considerably out.
Service over. 8-3.
He's played 30 Hong Kong players in the past. Kento Momota has only ever lost 5 of those. He knows pressure is on him, even though, as we said, mitigating reasons.
And I think something that people maybe can't appreciate if they haven't been in the situation is to get the confidence back, to get the belief back, to get the ability to win matches back. It takes time, and it takes tournaments. And this is almost the worst timing in a way, because when you increase the pressure by Momota possibly, slipping out of the top 32 in the world and having to maybe play a few lower graded tournaments, he's got that pressure, and then he's also got to overtake 2 of his teammates.
Yeah.
And he's got to find a way of getting back to that level. I mean, for a long duration, there was a time where people didn't think he could be beaten because he was almost unbeatable. Yeah. And he just had a bit of bad luck that hit him, and I mean, it's not his fault. He won the tournament.
He won the actual tournament, Malaysia Masters.
He did, and then it was so unfortunate. I remember hearing it. I felt so sorry for him because it's horrific timing that it happened. And for him, I really hope he can find a way of getting that belief back, that confidence back.
It's really sad, isn't it, when you look back at he was at the very
he was right at the top
of his career.
He really was right at the top, and it was not his fault. It was, you know, and these are challenges we have in life, and I really hope that Momota can find a way to get himself back to that level, or even close to it, and getting himself to be able to consistently play tournaments, because that's not what we've had over the last 12 months, and that's, you know, a big reason why he's only got 9 tournaments on his world ranking.
It's all going swimmingly at the moment, isn't it, for Angus Unkalong?
I'm going to be honest, as it stands right now, I struggle to see how Momota can hurt Angus. Unkalong is just moving the shuttle around. He looks more dominant, he's reading the game, he's quicker, he's more dangerous. I just don't know what Momota's going to do to change that at the moment, but we're early on in the match.
11-4 it is here in game 1. Angus Unkalong leading against Kento Momota.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Players on court.
Sometimes, Chris, when you've had that interval, it's a chance for a reset. I mean, but is it more than that? I think it just goes a bit deeper.
Yeah, I mean, at 11 you definitely get the chance for a reset. You get the chance to just pause, but I would say I don't feel Momota at the moment at any point really in that first half has shown how he can be dangerous, how he can trouble Unkalong. The pace for me that he's moving at is too controlled, it's too slow. I don't feel he's dangerous enough. He has phenomenal touch. He can almost put the shot where he wants, but he's not troubling Angus. Unkalong has hit...
How many winners? Not many, right?
Well, he's hit 1 or 2, but I mean, he shouldn't be hitting clean drop shot winners. Like,
13,
is he the most deceptive player in the world? In my opinion, no. Like, don't get me wrong, Angus is a phenomenal player, he really is, but to hit a clean drop shot winner in that scenario...
You're saying that shouldn't be happening?
No, it shouldn't be, no. In men's singles, if the lift is incredibly short and you're playing someone with an incredibly high skill level and they are incredibly deceptive, yes, that can happen. But we're talking about Angus who is a very hard-working player, phenomenal player, but I wouldn't say he's the most deceptive or the most creative. Right. And 14-4, and I don't feel Momota's really put up a fight.
Yeah. I would agree with that assessment. Rallies we've had, one that Momota comes out on top of.
Service over.
So how much have we so far in this match?
The thing for me, if I'm going to be not brutal, but let's say honest.
I was about to use real quick.
Well, it's just, if I'm looking at Momota, I don't know if he truly believes, and that's obviously me sat up here in a you know, miles away in a comfortable seat, you know. But if I'm just watching him, I'm not 100% sure he believes that he can
scale the heights again.
Yeah, but we're early on in the match. He hasn't played many tournaments at all. Not sure what's happened there.
You must do it right away.
Is that because he took too long?
Oh, but I don't
Service
think that was,
over.
That was fine, wasn't it? Wasn't that within the sort of the generally accepted?
I mean, it was very chilled the way he put his hand up. But I would say, personally, I don't think it was long enough.
Right.
That's a brilliant shot.
That's more.
I mean, that's a moment of brilliance, but that's the first one we've seen in the
scores. Maybe the first. Yeah,
I think it is from Momota. The first moment of you know, that is very, very good, and that's his skill level, his creativity, his control of the shuttle. But the score's 6-15.
Yeah, he's left himself a lot to do, hasn't he?
Service over. 16.
I know it's hard to portray a phenomenal fight when you're 16-6 down. You know, I get that. I've been in that situation. But right now, if I'm in Carlon, I'm thinking, does my opponent really believe? Does my opponent really think that they can win?
I mean, if there was ever a right time to break that duck of Angus on Carlon, this is it, isn't it?
Definitely. And if I was in Carlon, I'd just be thinking, well, if I'm just consistent, if I'm hardworking, if I'm disciplined in my shot selection, if I make myself difficult to beat by just working hard, moving the shuttle around, not taking any risks. Like there, it's the wrong shot, but it's a lot of spin on the shuttle. But I just feel, yeah, it's going to be. It's a great shot from Carlon.
Service over.
I just think it's a lot to ask from Momota. He's got to, for me, you know, everyone who's been on the side that Angus is on has favoured, has been triumphant. But I do think from the second game, we need to see more. A lot from Momota. We need to see more energy. We need to see more belief.
I was about to ask you, is it a bit passive for you?
Yeah, really passive. Like, so passive that he's not troubling Angus with anything.
Right.
Say the whole speed of the game is very slow.
It's
very controlled, it's very calm. There's not a great deal of change of pace or speed from anyone really.
He's got a whopping 12 game points here.
Service over.
And the start of the second game, unless Momota pulls off a really, truly phenomenal comeback in this first game, the start of the second game is so integral for Momota. He's got to come out a different player. And I think he will to an extent because of the ends. But he's got to show his opponent that he believes.
Game.
So, a very good first game for Angus Unkalong.
First game won by
Kento Momota needs to really drastically turn things around if he wants to stay in this match. 21-8 to the Hong Konger after game one.
11-10, play.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Players back.
So, Chris, this is the end that I'm quite fascinated to see now how he responds. I think response is the word, isn't it? Because there was just nothing really in that one, was there, the first game?
Yeah, I would agree. I would say it's so
Second
integral
game.
now to start from Momota.
Love all.
He's got to come out
Play.
a slightly different player, a drastically different player, to be honest. But the end will favour him with the drift. He can't be as passive.
And I mean, from Angus's point of view,
One
you've got to
love.
keep your foot on the throat, really, haven't you?
If you're Angus, for me, you just got to keep concentrating. You've got to keep disciplined, keep focused, and you've just got to keep following the game plan that's working perfectly. I mean, Angus's work rate is very impressive. He's brilliant.
Yeah, excellent.
You know, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on Momota in regards to I'm not giving Angus enough praise, but for me it's a case of yes, Angus is doing very well, but then on the flip side it's because he's been given time. The speed of the game is so comfortable for Angus that he doesn't feel threatened. There's no threat from speed, shot variation, power, deception from Momota at the moment.
Service over. 1, 2. All.
He's finding his marks. He's hitting them beautifully, isn't he?
Service over.
It's a great shot from Angus here, but we don't get to quite see. But the lift's still short. He's in front of the front service line, and it's tough for Momota now because if he wants to realistically do what every player this year wants to do, which is qualify for Olympics. If he wants to be the second-ranked Japanese player, which currently is Nishimoto, ranked 11 in the world.
Oh, that's hard, isn't it?
We're talking worlds apart here. We're talking a massive, massive difference from what we're seeing out here to get to 11 in the world. And it is a big ask. And I don't know if he maybe feels this weight on his shoulders of how big the challenge is for him to qualify for the Olympics.
And it's a Super 1000 like this. These are the ones where you've got to advance or progress.
Yeah, exactly, it's the points. The points here are so big, and the points from this tournament will make a pretty big difference to the world ranking, just because the points are so big in a Super 1000 that, you know, if Momota, and there's nothing stopping him from winning this game.
Yes.
And if he did and had a run, and let's say he ended up in a quarter-final, semi-final, you know, he's right back in the hunt, because Olympic qualifying has only just started, and the results from now on are the integral ones. It's impressive from Angus, though. He's so disciplined. All he's doing is moving his opponent, and then as soon as he gets a chance, he's taking it early, stepping in and putting pressure on. There. Not an incredible shot, just pressure on his opponent. You can see every time Momota's playing a shot, he's taking it late, and he's in trouble. And that's all Angus is doing incredibly well, which is taking the shuttle early, making his opponent take it late, and putting pressure on. And I wouldn't say Momota at the moment is stressing Angus whatsoever.
Oh, yeah. He thought twice about that. Too late.
Mopa, 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 floor, please. Thank you. Please, thank you.
So,
Service over.
a bit of a tighter start to this second game than we had in the first.
Play.
It might be the first time that Momota's had the lead in this match. He doesn't quite judge it like he did at the previous point.
Service over. 5-all.
He never got consecutive points in the last game, Chris. Kento Momota, and he's already got 2 in a row here, so that's... I suppose you need to look at these little things first, don't you? Something, you've got to click on something.
Definitely, and I think we've seen just here, just a few unforced errors from Angus, because Angus in a good position now. There's no need for that mistake. But if Angus does start to make a few mistakes, is he going to start to doubt himself? Will Momota grow in confidence? I think it's going to be interesting how it unfolds. I think the key. Momota's got to stay close. If he gives Angus too big a lead, winning the first game, and then and this is the thing. So Angus in the first game, nothing like that. I mean, he made maybe 2 mistakes the whole of the first game, and we've just had 2 in a row. And these are comfortable shots.
Yes.
He's in good balance there. He's in a position. And for Momota, he does move the shuttle around incredibly well. He does have incredible, feel of the shuttle. He has incredible, touch. That can he move the shuttle around well to make Angus feel uncomfortable? It could happen. But I'd say in the last few rallies, it's more Angus just making those few unforced errors rather than Momota doing something of a really, really high level.
Nicely done by Angus Kalong.
Service over.
For a long rally.
6,
He was walking away from that already, wasn't he, Momota?
Yeah.
By the way, Chris, you know, in the middle of that rally, there was a huge shout that happened from the court next door to us. How is that off-putting as well? Does that, or you're so in the zone it doesn't really matter? It's huge.
To be honest, yeah, you are in the zone, so you know some of it you don't hear. In a hall,
you tune it out.
Yeah, in a hall like this.
That's amazing, by the way.
Well, it's just because of the noise. Because the noise is, you know, it's incredible crowd. The passion they have, that you do have to zone out. Because otherwise, if you hear everything before you know it, you're hearing someone shouting on the next court. You're in the crowd shout. You know, I'm going to be honest. I was so zoned in when I would play in a hall like this. I couldn't hear my coach or my partner. You're kind of in your own world, which on one hand's a good thing, but another one isn't, because you can't hear your coach giving you instructions. But it's just because the noise is, you know, it's so loud from such a passionate crowd.
Do you remember the first time you ever played here at the Astora? not maybe you'd heard stories about playing in Indonesia and then the noise hits you?
Well, I'd heard, and I'm trying to remember back. It was
sorry, I got to cast
many moons ago. Yeah, it was a long time ago. To be honest, I can't remember the first time. I do have, you know, really fond memories of playing here because it is such an amazing arena, and I did hear that possibly there's a chance this could be the last year that it's actually played in this hall.
Yes, there's a new one around the corner.
Yeah, which I think will be a little bit sad in a way, just because the history of this hall is like no other almost. But I'm sure the new venue will be incredible. And it'll fit even more fans in, and you know it's going to be an even louder, you know, more incredible hall.
And we'll be having different discussions of drift.
Yep. Yeah.
So a challenge here by Kento Momota. Is in.
Correction, in.
Does need things to go his way, doesn't he?
9-7. Play.
I mean, from all the matches we've watched so far, we've only done a handful, but it's so clear now, which is the end that the players are gonna know this is the better end, isn't it? This is the one that we want.
Yeah, there's
to make the most of.
Yeah, there's got to be more going on than meets the eye in regards to the unforced errors from Angus this second game. I'm just a bit surprised, but I mean that was a phenomenal touch, maybe a bit of fortune for Angus, but 3-4. Comfortable. He's in a good position. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate you're going to you can make a mistake when you're stressed, you're low, you're in trouble, your opponent's all over you. But we didn't see really any of those mistakes in the first game from Angus. So the drift's obviously playing a bigger part than is obviously visible in regards to touch as well. The shuttle's holding up at the net, so that when you're playing a controlled shot, maybe it's just the wind's holding up, so people are a bit more tense when they're trying to push it to the net or play a net shot.
Because we've seen that time and again today, haven't we?
Yeah.
At the net.
Yeah, yeah.
But shots that you've said that's when they should be making. They should be making.
Yeah, and it's so important that you keep your movement going forwards. You fully commit to the shot. You can't pull out. If you pull out in a drifty hall, your body weight's going backwards, but you want the shuttle to go forwards, where it's not possible. You've got to keep your body weight going in the direction you want the shuttle to go to make sure the shuttle. That's a great shot from the motor.
And that gives him the edge here in the second game going into the interval. 11-9, but it's Angus and Kalong who's taken that first game, 21-8. So Kento Momota has a 2-point lead here in game 2.
11,
it's been a marked
9,
improvement. He's already, for a start, got more points than he did in the first game. And that is good.
No, it's just pushed out.
Oh, is it out?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I'm getting this wrong today.
It's just a fraction. When he's punching the corners, I think the drift just fractionally taking it.
Yeah. The wrong foot, Momota there. Is that one that should be?
I don't know. For me, maybe Momota thought it was out because that's half-hearted, if you get what I mean. But it could well be, to be honest. Watching it on the replay, I just think he thought it was out. And I think he left it. Because, to be fair, it was pretty much on the line. Because he started and then he sort of turned around and he's looking, and I believe he just thought it was out.
34 shots on the longer rallies we've had.
Angus is really now trying to take the net away from Momota. Just pushing everything to the back, making him work hard.
Could you expand on that, Chris, as to his changing his racket? Why is he trying to keep him away from the net?
Momota's got great touch, and I think he just wants to make Momota work. And Momota hasn't been devastating from the back. I mean, that's a pretty incredible shot, but I think he's the stringer on that one or the one before. But yeah, I think he's just wanting Momota to work hard, and he doesn't really want to engage at the net. Also, I do think Angus has definitely made a lot more mistakes when playing controlled shots to the net, so just pushing it in, keeping it away from the net.
I'll take that out of the equation.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
As much as he can.
13. Play.
Great shot.
Beautiful.
There. Lovely bit of double action, but I mean Angus is going with an incredibly disciplined game of, he's just playing, I would call it almost like big court in regards to hit a different corner. Just as long as he's making Momota move, that's all he's trying to do. I mean, that last shot involves a lot more finesse and skill. But he's just, I would almost say, putting a shift in, if you get what I mean. Yeah. He's working incredibly hard so that he's just making life very difficult for Momota, and he's almost challenging him and saying,
13.
do you want it as much as I do? If you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and this is where something Angus is phenomenal at. He's a very disciplined, hard-working player. Shot selection, incredibly disciplined on. He won't take any wild risks. We did see a patch where I think 3 or 4 cheap points he gave to Momota, but except for that, he's gone back into his style, which is, I'm just going to work hard. I'm going to make my opponent move. I'm not going to give anything easy. That was plumb on the line.
Riding, wasn't it?
And that was pretty much perfect.
Yeah. Service over.
Not challenging that one.
Well.
Angus and Carlo. By the way, there's Indonesians now in here, which will explain the explosion of noise that we have at the moment.
That one was drifting out, but Angus took it.
It's noticeable, Chris, that the rallies have got a lot longer than we had in the first game. In the second one.
They are, and as the rally goes on, Momota's looking more and more tired.
Interest to drag it out. Don't know if you heard me there.
Sorry, the crowd in there. We just had an Indonesian pair, one on another court, and I'm really sorry I couldn't catch what you said there.
I was asking, do you think it's in Angus's interest to drag out these rallies?
Almost, within reason, you know. If Angus is feeling really fresh, the first game was an incredibly quick one, so it wouldn't have taken that much out of Angus, that if he can noticeably feel that his opponent is fatiguing, that he is struggling with the longer rallies, then I would say it's a sensible tactic. Obviously, he doesn't want to overly fatigue himself also,
Sure.
because obviously it could go to 3 games and then it turns into an incredibly long match. And
Right.
if Angus was to eventually prevail and win this, he doesn't want the extra fatigue for the
Service
later
over.
rounds. But I do feel the longer the rally goes on,
15.
the less disciplined Momota is
Right.
in the rally.
Only a point in it now. And he has drawn level. The first time that's been in a while, isn't it? Look, Angus Kalong is all square here with Kento Momota. He looked frustrated with himself here, Momota. Go on, I know, Chris, you look pretty frustrated
15.
yourself there.
I just think it's not the same Momota that we used to see.
He wouldn't have played that.
Well, it's just a very different player. Now, is that he's not fully fit? Is that he doesn't believe? I don't know what it exactly is, only he knows, but
17-15.
this, for me, this second game probably shouldn't be as close as it is.
Right.
It should be... Angus just had a blip. He had a blip where he gave away 4 easy points, but those 4 easy points, it's a big difference because this is now a close game.
Yes.
Whereas if he didn't make those, I don't think Momota has consistently brought enough to the second game to really threaten Angus. Now, I could well be wrong because Momota, for a period of time in his career, it's a cheap point again.
Yeah.
But he just looks tired.
Yeah.
I don't understand how he can be
18,
tired.
15.
You know, this has been a quick game, and I don't know. Only he knows the truth of his fitness, his belief, his interest.
Well, he's now just 2 points away from what would be a great result for him. Angus Kalong.
The technical overview. The umpire of the match, Indonesia. And the submission,
Now we have the first
20.
match point chance.
Match point
Kalong.
15.
Yeah.
now please welcome Ren Xiangyu and Park Jiang, China.
Game.
Kalong, for the first time ever, has beaten Kento Momota after 7 straight defeats. But Chris Langridge, well, obviously clear mitigating circumstances, and as you said, he's nowhere near his best. Kento Momota, a shadow.
Say, you know, big congratulations to Kalong. He was by far the better player. But I do hope for badminton fans around the world that that's not the last that we see of Momota.
21-8, 21-15.
That was a very different player to a few years ago. I hope just the injuries, whatever it is that's holding him back, I hope that they can get rectified or sorted so that we can see the Momota that we did see a few years ago come back.
So Kento Momota loses. Angus Kalong beats him 21-8, 21-15. He's done it in just 37 minutes.
welcome back to Istora Senayan. It is first round action today, and what a match we've got coming up